Let's get this shit. Let's get this
Put
shit. Let's get this shit.
I'm putting a story on the spectators.
Cool. We're live. We are live from the
We're
gutter.
live right now on YouTube. Come check us out for our newest episode this week. See you there. Come on, let's go.
It is live. It is in fact live. What's going on, people? Party people, party people. Spectators are
We
back.
live on YouTube right now. Come pull up. You know where to find us. Come chill.
Yep. What's going on, everybody? We'll get this thing started in just a second as Brooklyn shrinks and grows. Because for some reason that's something we do around here. I hate Skype.
Yeah.
I hate Skype.
Yeah.
Cool, but let's get it popping. Let's get it popping.
Is my lighting okay?
It's fine. We just made it way worse, but it was fine. But it's okay. That helped. Okay, cool. What is up, everybody? We got a lot to talk about this week. Week 9 in the NFL, we got winners and losers. The NBA has some stars and surprises that have come to us. We have a new World Series champion in the Atlanta Braves, and we're going to get into all of that. Let's go. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Spectators. My name is Julian. I'm here in Brooklyn, as always. What's going on, BK?
Not much, bro. Enjoying the weather. Things are cooling down a little bit in Florida. I'm loving it. Like you said, the World Series just ended. Congratulations to the Atlanta Braves for making all the Yankee fans and the rest of baseball
Yes.
for whoever got beef with the Astros for taking them down. So
Yes.
shout out to you guys. Wild, wild weekend in the NFL. You see the title Upsetageddon. We gonna get into that.
Yeah.
And basketball, baby.
And
I'm ready to get into the full swing of that.
Honestly, basketball, this is the first full week where we are really kicking off into basketball. I'm excited
Yup.
to get into that, but I do want to go fully into just thank you to the Atlanta Braves, Jorge Soler, for taking down the true villains of the MLB. Houston Astros go down. Braves win their first World Series since I believe '95.
Mm-hmm.
And some weird stuff. They won 44 games before the All Star break, 44 games after, in honor of Hank Aaron, who passed away this year. And one of those weird things, kind of like Kobe, happened. One of the best of all time for that organization leaves us, and that team comes and wins a championship. Shout out to the Atlanta Braves. They did a tremendous job without Ronald Acuna. And
Which was really impressive to lose your top guy and to go on a run when pretty much people were writing you off for the most part.
yeah,
Because, like, at the trade deadline, everyone was like, Braves, nah.
I was one
Maybe
of
the
them.
Mets.
I was one of
Yeah,
them.
I was too.
I thought it was weird that they were going to get all these guys. Not that like it was weird that they were trying to get better, but just like you would think,
Why?
kind of wrap it up, try and stay healthy going into next year, and here they are. Who needs to be healthy when we can win championships? So, what do we know? That's
There
why
it
we're
is
not
right
GMs,
there.
right?
There it is right there.
But hey, the Braves, good for them. They were without a top 5 player in baseball, and they won a World Series. So they'll be looking pretty good coming into next year, and who knows what happens with that team. But congratulations again to the Braves. Uh,
Absolute.
in the meantime, we got some NFL to talk about.
We do.
We
We
got some
do.
NFL to talk about. My boy. We got winners and losers, as we like to do around here. Brooklyn, who's a winner for you in week 9?
Underdogs. Straight up underdogs. Everybody who you thought were just going to get ridden off this week, they won. And they took down some big name teams. Like, I'm gonna just run through it real quick. The Giants take down the Raiders. The Falcons take down the Saints. Jaguars take down the Bills for the first win on U.S. soil
In a
in
long time.
years. Shout out to the
In
London
a long time.
Jaguars. Browns take down the Bengals without OBJ. You would think, okay, Browns are gonna struggle. No, the Cowboys. Dak and the boys. Dak's back. and the Denver Broncos take them down with a
Butt
whooping.
whooping.
And then on primetime Sunday Night Football, the Tennessee Titans, after losing King Henry, just demolished the Los Angeles Rams. And a wild weekend.
It was a wild weekend. There's a reason this episode is called Upsetageddon. All of the underdogs won pretty much, besides like a handful. My Vikings were one of them. They came close. I did think they did cover the spread. So if you're a spread underdog, you're living lavish this week. But yeah, this is crazy, and a lot of upsets, especially in that early window. And then you mentioned it, but the Titans, they lose one of the most dominant offensive players in the league over the last handful of seasons. They go into LA and just handle him. Matt Stafford didn't look like himself. They just struggled to actually put points on the board that weren't field goals, and there was a pick six. They have some big drives when they need it over there for the Titans, and hey, without Henry, they took down what, in my opinion, was the best team in the NFL at their house. So that's a statement win, and it goes to show the ups and downs of the Titans this season. They lose to the Jets. They beat the Rams at home. These are things we don't understand. NFL is very odd this year. Very, very odd this year.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, underdogs are crazy. I think the Browns were underdogs too, and they whooped on the Bengals. And the Bengals are now on a 2-game slide.
Yeah, you would have had to give the edge to the Bengals just because they've been balling. The Browns are kind of finicky. Again, you lose OBJ, even though OBJ hasn't been like a big factor to the team for the most part. But still some turmoil around the team and everything. You don't know how they're going to react to it. And they come out and just stomp the Bengals.
Well, clearly what I'm seeing is that OBJ was holding them back. There was clearly like a locker room mojo type of thing. Kind of like what we're seeing in the 76ers, which we'll talk more about in a second too. But getting that out of the locker room clearly brought some like morale boost, I guess, which is kind of weird to say, losing your most talented pass catcher. But they put up 41, and they haven't been a good offense the last 2-3 weeks. And this is an offense that's capable of scoring a lot, but we haven't seen score a lot.
Yeah.
So, shout out. I'm going to give you a winner real quick. It's kind of along the same lines, but not really. Contenders with main players out, right? So Arizona comes into this game. No DeAndre Hopkins, no Kyler Murray, and they put a whooping on San Francisco in San Francisco, which that shocked me. Shout out to the Cardinals, just proving they're actually a really good team. Same thing with the Titans. No Derrick Henry. We touched on that. They put a whooping on the Rams. That's a big-time win. We've mentioned this before. There are no moral victories in the NFL, especially when you lose a game against a good team. But let me tell you, going into Kansas City, losing by 6 with a guy who's never started in the NFL before, the Packers got to be feeling good about the way their defense played, with the way that their offense at times looked, despite Jordan Love not being super comfortable, despite his mom and his girlfriend being 7 billion miles north of them.
That you can't get any more nosebleed than those seats right there. Their backs were up against the wall.
Kind of crazy.
They were in the clouds.
It was wild. But I mean,
cheese doesn't ferment up there.
But those are 3 teams that are all contenders looking for a Super Bowl in the Titans, Cardinals, and Packers. Yeah. And 2 of them get wins, and the Packers had no business even being in this game. They do lose it. It's a tough loss. It's only their second loss. They'll be fine. The NFC North isn't looking too great this year, so they'll be all right. And hey, those are some wins with moral boosts behind them, because it's like, hey, we can compete without our guys, without our literal best players, all 3 of those teams.
And I'll just double down. My second winner was pretty much the Cardinals as well. A couple minutes before game time decision, Kyler and D-Hop go down, and we're sitting in the group chat stressing, because if you look on our IG @_the_spectators, go follow, please and thank you. We appreciate it. We do a spectator pick 'em every week, And I think probably like what 75% of us had the
Yeah,
Cardinals
yeah.
for the most part. So we were stressing like, damn,
And
we're
they still look
done.
good.
They
They
look
beat them better than
great.
they did the first time at home. It's weird how that works.
They look
It's
great, and
bizarre,
it's
man.
just like
Biz-
congrats.
yeah,
And Bizarre is a great name for this season
bizarre, man.
because everything has just been weird. You would think the Chiefs just handle the Packers without any issues, and the Chiefs have looked weird this year. Still tough to really see what's going on with
That
them, but
division is a nightmare, and I'm about to talk about that. My loser for this week, the formerly known as Los Angeles, formerly known as Oakland, now known as Las Vegas Raiders. They are not just the losers of this week, they're the losers of the year as a whole. And not in that they're playing particularly bad, they're actually playing pretty decent. Derek Carr is having a very good season. They have a very rough game against the Giants. They should beat the Giants. They don't. The offense couldn't really do anything. That's besides the point. They without some weapons. They lose Henry Ruggs last week, obviously, to that tragic stuff that happened. Hopefully condolences and all that to the family affected by that incident, and hopefully Henry is dealt with in the justice system as he should be. And he was released by the Raiders this week, and then today we
absolutely.
get hold that the other first round pick from last year is released. Damon sent IG videos to somebody brandishing his firearms. He had at least 4 of them in the video. One of them had all the attachments: the belly drum, the red laser. He had the HCOG scope. That dude was playing Call of Duty with his gun, and he's quite literally in direct quotes telling this person he sent this to, "I will kill you," several times.
Yeah, multiple
It's not
times,
it's
and
not a
just bad.
saying it and like, oh, I said it, but I was heat in the moment. He says it to separately sent videos multiple times, flashing his gun, saying, "Where you at? Pull up. I will kill you. I got killers. This, that, and the other."
Yeah, there's things you don't do. You don't say that you're gonna
You
kill
don't
somebody.
actually kill
You
somebody,
don't.
Henry. You don't actually kill.
Okay, 4, but just him. You don't say that you're gonna do it. You don't record yourself with your face on camera saying you're gonna do it, and you don't record yourself showing your guns that are probably who knows
Well,
if they're
that
legal. You would
first
hope
one
they
was
are.
100% illegal. Like, you're not allowed to have those like military grade attachments. That just isn't allowed. It's not
Yeah,
allowed. It's not allowed.
having your face on there, showing it, saying that you're gonna kill. It's just a trifecta of no nos.
Don't
Don't
do it,
do it.
man.
Don't do it. There's
There's no
no need.
reason.
And why are you DMing him? Why are you sliding in the DM saying I'm gonna kill you?
It's just insane. And so that came up, and the Raiders drop him. Of their first 4 picks, or 5 picks, 5 picks in last year's draft, 2 of them have been released, 2 have been traded. 1 remains on the team. They had 5 picks in the top 100. 1 remains on the team from just a year and a half ago's draft. That's bad. That's bad. That's bad. That's bad.
Say it one more
Also,
time.
Gruden's gone because he hates everybody who's not a white
That's
guy.
the
Like,
thing. On top of all this, you got Gruden too. We're halfway through the season. What else do we have
dude, there's
left?
got to be more. There has to be more.
There's
There has
gotta
to be
be.
more.
There's gotta be.
Or not even Oakland, formerly known as Oakland. Vegas is nuts. What happens in Vegas goes into the news every Monday. It's
I can't wait for the
documentary on this.
30 for 30 E60. I can't
Jeez.
wait. Cause
Bad.
boy, this
Wild.
is
You
this
got a
is
loser this week?
yeah, I'll give you this loser, then we gotta hop into some
Yeah.
basketball. Pretty much just going off the theme of this episode, just the NFL's weird, man. Everybody at the top of the league that you just think are gonna keep on riding off into the sunset, into the playoffs, handle business, and I mean they probably still
Yeah.
will.
1 week.
Don't
Not
worry
like
too
DEFCON,
much.
not red alert. No.
But it's not even 1 week. It's been pretty weird for the majority of the season. But yeah, it's nothing to worry about, but definitely something to talk about. The Bills, there's certain somebody. I'm sorry, you'll hear from him
A couple
soon.
of seconds.
I'm sure he's got words, but weird, just insane. Also, the cool thing from that game, Josh Allen versus Josh Allen.
Very cool.
There's some history made. There was never a dual name matchup where the defender with the same name has sacked the quarterback with the same name.
Which, why would he?
Well,
why would he?
Josh Allen finally he sacked Josh Allen. Also intercepted Josh Allen. Also tackled
also recovered
Josh
a fumble.
Allen. Also made Josh Allen fumble and recovered it. And it was just odd, weird. You can't write that.
Well, also, like, how often do you have that dominant of a game?
No, he went nuts.
and that was the MVP front runner coming into this week, and probably still is with how bad everybody else was. But
so shout out to Josh Allen. Condolences to Josh Allen. Don't let the 30-16 final score fool you on this Broncos Cowboys game.
That was all garbage time. All garbage time.
It was 30-0, and they said, "Here's 16 for you. Put it on your head top. Make it look."
Let's hit the over real quick and go home. That's all they wanted.
Jerry went to the warden, like in the scene from The Longest Yard, met in the locker room. Was like, "Look, I need these points." So he was like, "All right, I got you." Goodell slid under the table, talked to the scoreboard guy. There you go. It's facts. It's facts. If you look at the security footage, it's there. I promise you.
Weird, man. This is a weird one because like they go into Minnesota and like upset them with Cooper Rush, and then they come home against the Broncos, who I think the Broncos are a worse team than Minnesota, but like who knows, man.
They have a
decent little team, but like on paper though,
cool.
like, Minnesota's like a better team, right? Talent wise,
and on paper the Cowboys run over them twice,
and so like
they go and they reverse.
And that's the thing with this week. It's crazy. I do want to add another loser, just going off your back. Just the Bills in general. They're really falling victim to playing down to who they're playing. And like they have a couple blowouts this year, and that's fine and dandy, but they have a stretch where they had the bye, the Dolphins, the Jags, and I think the Jets next week. Which is it's either the Jets or the Giants. It's like the softest 4 games ever. And I remember seeing a tweet a couple weeks ago that I was like, wow, the Bills really have 4 bye weeks in a row. They almost lose last week. They do lose this week. They don't score a touchdown.
Yeah.
And if it is the Giants, I'm not going to look. I don't really care that much. But if it is the Giants are playing decent football. I think they've lost all their games by combined like 13 points. Like the Giants are competitive and they're losing, but they're competitive. They better figure this out, because if you don't figure it out and you wind up being 5-4 or something, whatever their record would be coming into next week, the Patriots are probably going to be tied with them. And you know, if the Patriots are tied with the Bills going deep into the season, the Bills are going to get the yips because the Patriots have done this a million times to them over the last 30 years. You know it.
Yeah. And I just want to note that Odell is about to enter waivers. And we should have an update on where he goes soon. And I'm interested to see where that goes.
Who knows? That is.
Because you would think that there's something wild for whatever team that gets
him. Team that gets him probably doesn't need him. That's what's exciting. Like, it's going to be some bad team that doesn't need him.
Exactly.
Trade bait type of deal for the offseason. I don't really know, man.
And I mentioned that because the Patriots are a team that could potentially.
I'm also
get
looking
at
Philly. Philly's pretty low on there. Also Seattle.
Yeah.
I know those are like 3 teams that are in the top 10. So look for those teams, if they get him, to actually like use him.
Because it's not even that out of the question for like New England to potentially win the division.
No, they're a game back.
Things go really. Yeah.
They're a game back, and they're playing pretty good ball right now. They're not even a game back. They're a half game back. So.
And like I said, if you add OBJ with Bill Belichick, I promise you, all that diva stuff that surrounds him is out the window.
I want it to be known, 2 weeks ago, the Bengals had the best record in the AFC. They're now 4th in their division. Crazy how that works. All right, but enough ragging on the Bills. We're going to go talk to our local Bills guy. Gerard, let us know who did well in fantasy this week.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Gerald, and we're back again with another segment of Fantasy Corner. We're here for week 9. We got about 3 to 5 weeks left until the fantasy football playoffs. So I'm going to make sure I help y'all get to the playoffs, and I'm going to help y'all in the playoffs. So let's go ahead and get started. Our top performers of the week so far: Lamar Jackson is the QB1, 266 yards through the air, 120 on the ground, 3 touchdowns, 32.6 fantasy points for him. Running back 1, James Conner, 96 yards on the ground, 77 receiving yards, 3 total touchdowns for 41.3 fantasy points. I didn't know he still had it in him, but it's good to see him step up in Kyler and D-Hop's absence this past week. Wide receiver 1, Elijah Moore, 84 yards off 7 catches, 2 total touchdowns for a total of 27.4 fantasy points. And George Kittle is back for your tight end 1. Welcome back to the party. 6 receptions, 101 yards, a touchdown for 19.1 fantasy points. And I think he fumbled, so that's why he only has 19.1. The number 1 performers through week 9 so far at each position. QB1 is none other than who I believe is MVP favorite right now, Tampa Tom. Tampa Tom has been killing it. The Bucs have been killing it. They're looking really good. I like Tom Brady to finish as QB1 for the rest of the way. Running back 1 so far is Derrick Henry, but since he's hurt, I'm not going to include him in this. I'm going to go with running back 2, Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor's been on the tear after a super slow start, but this boy has gotten it going on right now over there in Indianapolis. Wide receiver 1 is Matthew Stafford's favorite target, Cooper Kupp. That boy is already at 1,000 yards receiving, and he very well may eclipse 2,000 yards this year, especially with that extra game they got. And tight end 1, no surprise here, is Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce is a shining point in a struggling Chiefs offense, but we'll look for him to continue that for the rest of the year. So 4 running backs y'all need to target. Darrell Henderson off the Rams. He has one of the easiest remaining schedules amongst running backs, and minus these 2 past games, where they've been playing basically kind of from behind a little bit, it seems like. He has been going off. He's been consistent with 15 or more points in each of the games he's been playing. Like I said, minus the past 2, but look for him to help your team if you can get him. Leonard Fournette, playoff Lenny, Super Bowl Lenny, whatever you want to call him. He's been looking really good this year. He is top 5 in goal line rushing attempts this year. So the touchdowns are going to come in buttloads, especially with the Bucs. They have a pretty decent remaining schedule, but the Bucs move the football on anyone regardless. So if they're on the goal line, first down, second down, look for Lenny to punch it into the end zone. Nick Chubb has the easiest schedule amongst running backs, I believe, for the rest of the season, and Nick Chubb looks really good this year. Look for Nick Chubb to lead you to a victory in fantasy football. He is definitely a league winner this year, and I think he is the main running back league winner that you can get this year, minus Jonathan Taylor. Javonte Williams is going to increase his workload as the season progresses, especially towards the end of the year. Take Melvin Gordon out of the picture. That's why they drafted him. And if you can get your hands on him now, he can definitely prove to be valuable for your team in the playoffs. So for the 4 wide receivers, I know I dogged this man all year, but he's had 2 back-to-back games, and he's basically free right now. Brandon Ayuk, 7 targets in back-to-back games. He had a touchdown this past Sunday, and he's looking really good. Look, this is the Brandon Ayuk we've been looking for this whole year, and I think he might be on his way to having that breakout second half of the season. Deontay Johnson of the Pittsburgh Steelers, he has been on a tear all year, probably one of the most consistent wide receivers in fantasy football. Every game he's played, he has 14 or more fantasy points, and that's just something you can't ask for out of everyone because not everyone's consistent. Some people are going to have really good games, but it's that consistency that helps win championships. So if you have Deontay Johnson, good for you. If you need Deontay Johnson, go ahead and trade for him if you can. Brandon Cooks has Tyrod Taylor back. They struggled this week and get to a pretty solid Miami defense, but look for Tyrod and Cooks to get that thing rolling. Cooks can very well end up as a wide receiver, a top 10 wide receiver for the rest of the playoffs. And Stephon Diggs minus whatever was happening last week. Even then, he was 14 points in fantasy is still really good. He leads the NFL in air yards attempted. So once him and Josh Allen gets that connection, that gets a pretty easy schedule the rest of the way. Look for Stephon Diggs to be that one to take you over the top. If you can go ahead and get him now, do it while you can. But other than that, that's about it for this week. I'm Gerard, Gman _ is a man on Instagram and Twitter. And be sure to ask me questions about the playoffs and anything else you need help with on fantasy. I may look like my demeanor's down, but we just lost 6-9 to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm still disgusted. So, with all that said, I'll catch y'all later for week 10. Peace.
Thank you, Gerard. You can hear the pain in his heart. We are sorry you had to do that after a long day yesterday, but congratulations on getting to see your team regardless of the outcome. That is always a very cool experience. And, if you guys need anybody, make sure you listen to that man. Try and get your league winners while you still can. I don't know who has trade deadlines and who doesn't, but if you do, make sure you try and make those moves before you can no longer. Try and make the team as best you can. Get that money. Get that money.
Get that money.
So, with that being said,
Talk to me.
The NBA is back, and we haven't really talked about it. A little bit here and there. We've talked about it a little bit. But we've been watching a good amount of NBA. And I want to know, Brooke, what's catching your eye out of the league so far?
I mean, one thing that you got to talk about off rip is a new rule that's stopping players from just causing petty fouls, getting to the line, racking up points, transition, hop in front of somebody, get the defensive foul, offensive foul, whatever you want to call it. Things have been nice. It's been cool to see we're actually playing some basketball. You're not seeing everybody flopping up, trying to bump into you on a shot, doing this, doing that. And it's been really cool to see. We're just getting straight up ball, and it's dope. So that's something you definitely got to look at to start
I mean,
off.
the games are moving a little bit quicker, too. There's less foul shots per game. I think it's about 5 or 6 less foul shots total per game, which is, I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing, but it's still kind of cool to see that less, unorganic things are being called. And I think that's really what they wanted out of this. If it's going to be a foul, make it, actually a foul,
Yeah, I got no problem with that.
And I'm right there with you. One thing I want to kind of mention is just young guys that have been doing very, very, very well. At the top of the league for a lot of these stats and all that. LeBron 1 game back, he's at 30 points. KD is probably the front runner for MVP at this point, right? But you have some dudes balling. Some dudes absolutely balling. Demar Derozan's been playing his butt off on a career revitalizing year over in Chicago, which a lot of people expected, especially our boy Nico. Shout out to Nico for calling that one.
I did too.
We'll see how sustainable it is because he's shooting from 3 really high, and that's not something he does. So we'll see how sustainable that is. It is only 9-10 games in, so we're only about 1/8 of the way through the season. So there's a lot of ball left. But for young guys like Donovan Mitchell, he's kind of coming out of that young guy role, right? He's a couple years in.
Yeah,
he's playing out of his mind, and the Jazz are the best team in the league at the moment, outside of the Warriors, and the Warriors are playing insane. The Warriors young guys are going nuts with Jordan Poole, Gary Payton. They're both playing really well. Jordan Poole had 27 a game last week in 3 games. He is really coming to his own, and I know Connor, our buddy Connor, called. He was going to be, I think he put money on it too, for Jordan Poole to win most improved this year. I think was the call, and I'm not mad at it at this point. There are a lot of guys who improved a lot, so that's going to be a very competitive award this year. Who's somebody you were looking at?
I mean, you gotta look at Ja Morant. I know we've been talking about him looking real good, as expected. We've also talked about Miles Bridges too. Loving. He's been
incredible.
Yeah, got to mention that. Give him his flowers, all that. Paul George.
Yeah, Paul George No
Paul George.
Kawhi.
No
Kawhi's been
Kawhi.
playing very well.
No Kawhi. Doing his thing. Doing his thing. The Clippers are they're moving and grooving. No, nothing crazy. But I'm impressed with him. He's up there on steals too. Right now he's averaging 27 a game. And for everybody who's just been talking down on PG, he wants his respect, and I like it. I like it. He on his bully.
It's just hard for us to enjoy PG when we've seen him do this before. He's a regular season hero. We've seen it before, but it's cool to see him like not take the playoff stuff into the regular season. Like if you're gonna be bad in the regular or playoffs, at least be good in the regular season, right? Like at least earn your stripes until it matters to get to that point, right? So yeah, he's been playing really well. CJ McCollum's been playing pretty well. He's honestly been carrying the Blazers at this point because Dame has not been the Dame we know. One thing I do want to talk about real quick, there was like a little, not controversy or anything, just players kind of mentioning it. They weren't putting excuses or anything, but they did just want it to be known that this was a thing that was worth adjusting to. The new basketballs this year, they switched balls from Spalding to Wilson, I believe. And the Wilson balls are just a little bit different, and it's an adjustment. It's a little bit of adjustment. The grip's a little different. They play a little different. Some big name guys, you look at I want to say Devin Booker, Dame. They're saying, hey, it's a little different, and it's not like an excuse why we're not playing well or anything like that, but it's an adjustment. And so little adjustments like that and the rule change that we mentioned. Those things all add up into the big picture that we kind of see with younger guys who haven't used those older balls as long doing really well, and older guys that have maybe not doing so well.
And then you look at a guy like Kevin Durant, who's leading the league in scoring right now.
He's like, I don't care.
I put the ball in my hand. I'm a scorer. It don't matter.
Okay. And I mean that's part of like KD is one of those guys that are always playing in like. Whether it's the FIBA tournaments, we saw him in the Olympics, or he plays in a lot of those like Drew League things where the balls are different or bigger or outdoor balls or whatever it might be. So he don't really care. And when you're like a talent like that, where you're not so much of a rhythm type of guy, you're just like a straight talent guy, it doesn't really matter. But if you're a guy who like needs to feel and needs to like do your steps and do your due diligence, it probably is definitely a factor.
Yeah, absolutely. So. And I mean, we're how many games in? Like 10 games in?
More or less.
So we got time. They're pros. They'll get used to it.
For sure. One surprise for me, too. Not so much a surprise. I think that's the right word, just because there's no media attention on this guy at all, right? My quote-unquote surprise, even though he was a high draft pick and shouldn't be a surprise, I think it was 3rd overall, Evan Mobley out of USC. He's playing for the Cavs, and he is exactly as advertised coming out of college. Just uber athletic. He's shooting at a pretty high percent in the paint, like around like 52%. Don't look at him from the 3-point line, but he'll probably get that because he does have some semblance of a shot. But I mean, at 10 games in, this is a young guy. He's averaging almost 15 a game. I think about 8 rebounds and a couple of assists, and when he's on the court, you're like, wow, this guy is going to be special. You're like seeing what they saw in college. And he's playing for Cleveland, who aren't particularly great. There's guys on that roster who are taking more attention, like Colin Sexton, who tore his meniscus today. Or maybe not today, but yesterday. And will be out for a timetable we haven't been told yet. So hopefully you get better soon, Colin. Another bright spot in this league. But Colin's taking the spotlight. Kevin Love, obviously, and Lauri Markkanen are all taking spotlight over there. And apparently Ricky Rubio, which I don't want to talk about. But Evan Mobley is flown very under the radar in terms of young guys. And I'm not sure exactly why, but he's been very, very good to this point.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Another young guy that people have been giving props to around the league on the defensive end, Scotty Brooks.
Scotty Barnes.
I'm sorry.
Not the head coach.
Scotty Barnes.
Not the head coach.
Scotty Barnes.
Scotty Barnes has been very, very good.
getting it done on the offensive side too. 16.6 points a game. No slouch right there. 50% shooting. He's doing
He's
his
doing his
thing.
thing, and the Raptors are.
And he's getting props from some big
Well,
guys.
I think, what is he, 19? I think he's like
He
19 or 20. He's like super
he
young. Uh,
is
he's
20.
20. Yeah.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
turned
So he's
20.
one of those guys that are super young and only a couple games in, and you're already just seeing the talent. And I mean, it's kind of like the whole Tatum, RJ Barrett type of deal where you got to give him a couple years. Like,
Yeah.
give him a couple years. He's
Yeah.
playing great right away. And I mean, he's shooting 53%. You said, I think, right around 17 points a game, and his defense has been fantastic. And
Yeah.
he's part of the future of the Raptors, where the Raptors are playing some really interesting basketball. They're not really running a standard, like, guard brings up the ball type of thing. They're playing small bigs that can dribble the ball, like Scotty. I mean, he's Draymond's height, right? And they want to push tempo and make every possession transition if possible. So this team is moving. I don't know if you guys have watched the Raptors game this year, but they are surprisingly very fun. For a team that lost their two best players of all time with Kawhi and Kyle Lowry, are like picking up the pieces pretty quickly, and Siakam's not even there yet. He's still out.
He's about to be back,
And
so
when he gets
they're definitely ready for that
when he gets
return.
back, and with how Fred VanVleet is playing, and Chris Boucher has been very good on the boards and spreading the floor, and Scotty Barnes' emergence, this team, I don't know how good they'll be, but they have a future that's very in sight. And if their way of playing with pushing the tempo with these big guys is going to work, this could be something to look out for.
Yeah, absolutely. And the East is
Wild.
really interesting this year because you look at teams like the Wizards, the Cavs, the Raptors, the Hornets, the Pacers, even the Magic with Cole Anthony balling right now. He's leading the Magic doing his thing.
Big jump from last year.
It makes you really wonder what this playoff picture is going to look like for the East at the end of the year. Because I think everybody but the Pistons have some sort of chance to make the playoffs, or at least the play-in tournament.
I'm going to put the Magic in that discussion as well. I still think they're too young. I think they're just too young, and they don't have the depth like at all. Like once those starting five come out, like that team is bad. But outside of the Pistons and the Magic, I think you're right. I think every team has some very clear upside, and you can tell because the teams not in the playoffs right now are teams with all-stars. Sabonis is an all-star. Trae Young is an all-star. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are all-stars. Giannis is maybe the best player in the world right now. LaMelo Ball and Miles Bridges are playing fantastic ball. And none of those teams are in the top 8, 10 games in. Again, it's 10, 11 games in. There's not a whole lot to look at yet. But all those teams got something to prove, and you're looking at like the three that will likely fall out, being the Raptors, the Cavs, and the Wizards, right?
Yeah.
But that leaves a dogfight for those 3-4 spots. And you're looking at probably the Bucks and the Hawks really pushing for those, and then maybe the Hornets are in that mix too, and who knows? I mean, it's a weird. This is a very, very odd division, like conference this year, because they're all really good, and they're all.
But what I've loved about the East is people have been writing them off. Oh, they're not as good as the West. This, that. They're not as deep. And I mean, I feel that. Well, that narrative has been going for about like 3-4 years now. And the first. Well, no, I hear you, but I'm talking about relevant. What the change of scenery and all that, with LeBron leaving, doing all that, because obviously there is a change of everything. KD comes over to the East, LeBron goes over to the West, everything flip-flopped. But since that time, the East has just been written off. And the last 2 years, it's been shown that the East is coming, and it's I don't know if I would say scarier than the West, but it's up there.
There's less super dominant teams, but I think every team in this top 10 in the East could make a run. And I mean, if you look at the Heat from a couple of years ago that made the finals, the Heat are better than they were a couple of years ago now. Like, wide margins. I mean, Tyler Hero, a guy I wanted to talk about too, he makes those ridiculous comments to start the season where he's in the conversation with Trae Young and Luka. And he's
right.
He's right. I mean, he has been
He's
he's
so
been
right.
playing really, really good basketball. He's averaging like 22, and he's probably sixth man of the year to this point. Again, stupid, but
Yeah.
He's been doing really well. He's shooting 43% from the three. Like, that's kind of his thing at this point. He's kind of become that bench scorer, and seemingly really liking that role too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The East is really fun. East is like a lot of fun.
I love the East. And we mentioned two teams that we don't think have really any chance to be a dog in the fight. You look at the West, the Rockets, Pelicans, Spurs, Thunder, Timberwolves, throw the Kings in there too. Those are all bottom feeders that you're not really looking at to be any issue.
When we say like any issue, we mean like win a first round. Like, I don't think any of those teams could even possibly win a first round, and I do think 10 teams in the East could. They just do.
Yeah.
So
whether it's by the skin of their teeth,
don't care. Whether it's because somebody got hurt, I don't care. I think they can do it.
Like it. Do the Cavs do it because Jared Allen gets 17 blocks? Do the Hornets do it because LaMelo just goes crazy? Like Sabonis
dropping 40 a game for no reason? Like, maybe.
Like you could see it happening with the East. Besides those like top teams in the West, you're not really seeing
outside of like, I mean, even Dallas is kind of at the top right now, and even them I don't like to make any type of a run. I mean,
that Dallas is weird. Dallas goes off the strength of how is this Porzingis Luka duo gonna
had
mesh?
A good week,
because there was he had a good week, and there's always been the talk last year of like Luka. You look at the film and the videos, and Porzingis would just be open sometimes. Luka wouldn't even pass it to him, and obviously the numbers aren't showing for Kristaps because he don't got the rock in his hands. So it's going to be interesting to me if they've moved past that and been able to patch whatever's there, because Porzingis ain't no slouch. Like if he's balling,
he's definitely
he's a top player in the league.
Guy who can help contribute to a playoff team, certainly.
Yeah,
certainly.
So
should.
And that duo right there could be a monster, as long as they play at the level that they could.
Yeah, I agree.
And who knows though? Who knows? Because Mavericks are weird.
Knows?
They're one of those teams that we never know.
To close out the NBA talk, it would be amiss to not talk about the Warriors. They are first in points, defense, 3-point percentage, field goal percentage. They are top 3 in turnovers, steals, and I think it was rebounds, all without Klay Thompson. Now, is it because these young guys are kind of just blossoming right in front of our eyes? Are they sustainable? I don't know. I don't think Gary Payton's going to be scoring 20 a game the whole season. I don't think Jordan Poole's going to be scoring 20 a game the whole season. But they are right now, and they're 8-1.
They are right now, and that's all that matters.
They have the highest, I think it's the highest points per game above the Knicks. No, above the Hornets. It's above the Hornets and then the Knicks. Those are the 3 best scoring teams in the league, which is insane that the Hornets and Knicks are right there. But those are the 3 best scoring teams in the league this year to this point. Looking good. Andrew Wiggins filling right in as that like KD replacement, defense, and get the easy buckets. It's weird, man. It's weird.
I said A-Wig was going to be a nice part to this team. I said it when he came over, and I love that he's doing it. I love that he's doing it, and it's really cool to see the Warriors just holding it down until Klay comes back. It's really dope, and they're impressive.
They're definitely impressive.
You know what you're going to get from Curry. That's Draymond too, you know it, but these young guys, man.
That's been the whole deal. Is Wiseman and the young guys.
These young guys.
They're being quality. They're eating some minutes, so cool for that. Let's see how the Warriors do while we do wait another probably a couple weeks, like 3 more weeks for Klay to come back or so, maybe a month. I'm not exactly sure the timetable. Probably around Christmas.
Nice present.
Happy Hanukkah from me and Klay. But thank you guys for watching. If we missed anything, let us know. Let us know how much the drama in Vegas is making you happy, and we'll let you know as well, and keep you guys up to date with all the news that we find out as soon as we find out, as we tend to do on our Instagram @_the spectators. Some new TikToks and all that coming out this week as well. Same place @_ the spectators. If you guys are not already subscribed to our YouTube, make sure you go hit the like and subscribe button. It means a lot to us, guys. We just passed 100 subscribers this last week, and we got more stuff coming for you guys. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day.
Appreciate it, everybody. Peace.
Later.
Be safe. See you next week.
Cool stuff. Thank you guys in the YouTube live. Appreciate you, beautiful people. And we'll be back next week. Later.